It is designed to optimize the productivity and fitnesses of diverse communities within ecosystem. Organic farming present many challenges. Some crops are more challenging than other to grow in the organic practices. Today webinar is about practices on organic farming. I hope this session will give idea about practices on organic farms. I wish this session going to be a success. Thank you all. Thank you, sir, accepting for this session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And good afternoon to all of you. I sincerely thank the chairman, the principal, the head of the Department of Biotechnology, Dr. Jennifer.
Sir, 1 minute.
Yes, madam.
Sir, introduction session, sir, now.
Yes.
After that, you will be continuing.
Okay, madam.
Okay.
Now I would like to welcome Ms. Soumya from 3rd BSc Biotechnology for introducing the chief guest.
Oh, thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my tremendous honor to introduce chief guest of the day. He is none other than Dr. B. Ramamurthy. He completed his UG and PG at St. Joseph College, Trichy, and MPhil at Tyagarajar College of Engineering, Madurai. He had also done PhD at Gandhigram Rural Institute, Dindigul. He had 35 years of teaching experience in English at Vivekananda College and also served as a principal for 7 years at the same college. And now he is a principal of SLCS College, Madurai. He attended 5 days training program on organic farming at Nagpur, Maharashtra during the year 2018. After that, he presently involved in organic farming and now he is cultivating paddy, banana, grape, papaya and lemon. He is also engaged himself in rearing desi cows and producing A2 milk. It's really inspiring to me because you had been the principal and now you are involved in organic farming. Sir, it's a welcome note for today's condition. We are honored by your presence in this program. Thank you.
Thank you, Soumya. Now I take this as an opportunity and consider it a pleasure to welcome our chief guest, Dr. B. Ramamurthy, Director, RJ Organic Farm near TN STC Depot, Vadapatti, Madurai District, Tamil Nadu to the session. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, madam. Thank you. Shall we start the session, madam? Shall we start?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
You can.
Good afternoon, Madam Jennifer. Good afternoon, participants. I deem it a great pleasure to participate in this webinar conducted by the Department of Biotechnology of this young college, AJK College. Though this college was started in the year 2007, I'm very happy that this college has got 14 UG courses, 3 PG courses, and 4 research courses. And this is also accredited by NAC. When I saw the invitation for the webinar, I was greatly impressed by the term an eco-friendly college. I'm very happy about it. And when Dr. Jennifer asked me to participate in this webinar, when she asked me to talk about innovative practices in organic farming, I was really very happy. As the speaker introduced me as the principal of 2 institutions, as the former principal of 2 institutions, I had this passion in me to become a farmer. Now I am retired, and retirement for farming is never there. You can remain a farmer throughout your life. And this topic, innovative practices in organic farming, is I consider a relevant topic for me. I would like to first define the term innovative. Innovative is an adjective. The noun is innovation. So innovation is life. If there are innovations, that means we progress. And innovative, the dictionary meaning for innovative is featuring new methods and advanced original methods. So when there is innovation, there is progress. Practice is the actual application of an idea, belief, and a method. So innovative practices in organic farming. The term organic farming the phrase organic farming needs to be defined. This is an agricultural system which started in the early 20th century. And there are certified organic farmers throughout the world, and 70 million hectares are being used for organic farm, and they are all certified organic farmers. And in organic farming, the fertilizer we use is naturally occurring substances. And the synthetic substances are not at all used. And the synthetic substances like synthetic pesticides, synthetic fertilizers are all prohibited here. In short, we can say that organic farming is an integrated farming system. We take care of soil fertility, and there is biological diversity, sustainability, and everything is open. An organic farm should be self-sufficient. The organic farmer has got autonomy, and when he undertakes organic farming, he takes care of his health, not only his health, but also the health of the society. There is food security and there is food safety. In the year 1972, IFOAM was established. This is an international federation of organic agriculture movements. And when you go to the history of agriculture, agriculture was organic. Agriculture was integrated. Agriculture was natural. But in the 19th century, middle of the 19th century, artificial fertilizers were created, were introduced in the 1940s, and all the farmers considered that the artificial fertilizers and chemical pesticides were beneficial, but those benefits were short-term benefits, and they all had serious longer-term side effects. There were two botanists in England, Albert Howard and Gabriel Howard, his wife. They were English botanists. They came to India, and Mr. Albert Howard started an institute called Institute of Plant Industry in Indore. And Mr. Albert Howard writes, Indian peasants, Indian pests were his professors. He learned a lot from the peasants, the farmers of India. He learned a lot from the pests. And he also said the healthy soil will have healthy population, healthy livestock, and healthy crops. So they are all interlinked, the soil, the plant, the animal, and the man are all interlinked. They are indivisible. One's health affects the health of the other. The soil, plant, animal, and man, they are all interlinked. And Mr. Albert Howard had a lot of research, and the system of modern composting, the system of forests having humus were all researched by him. And he was the forerunner of organic farming, we can say. And another name which gains importance here is Rudolf Steiner, an Austrian, and a German called Ehrenfried Pfeffer. They are all connected with organic farming. There is a gentleman whose name is Walter James, an Englishman. He first coined the term organic farming. And this is about the beginning of organic farming in India and also in the other parts of the world. And when you come to India, the name which is very much associated with organic farming is Padma Shri Subhash Palekar. He is 71 years old now. And he advocated natural farming. He is advocating natural farming. He was born in Maharashtra. And in Nagpur, in the Agricultural University, he completed his BSc Agri. And as a student of an agricultural university, as a graduate of BSc Agriculture, he did what the government prompted him to do, and that was Green Revolution. So Green Revolution was considered to be something great. Green Revolution was considered to be something which really benefited the farmers. But as I mentioned, the long-term effect was very serious. Chemical inputs were given, production increased, but production did not increase forever. The yield began to decline, and nobody knew what to do. They were using more and more chemical fertilizers. They were using more and more insecticides, pesticides. The poor farmers in India, they spent a lot, but the yield was low. So they went for natural farming methods. Mr. Subhash Palekar studied the system of there are in the forests a lot of animals, lot of organisms, lot of plants, but everything is alive, everything is vibrant, everything is active. Where is the farmer? Where is the peasant? When something is left to itself, like that, let's go for Nelly. He started an organization called Zero Budget Organic Farming. And Subhash Palekar, natural farming. Subhash Palekar, natural farming. He conducts workshops, seminars. He has written a lot of books. And he mainly advocates intercropping and the preparation of the inputs. The farmer should be able to prepare his own inputs. And among the inputs he advocated is, the first thing is Jivamruta. And for that, we should have a desi cow, indigenous cow. If there is one desi cow, it will take care of 30 acres of land. It will benefit 30 acres of land. It will give all the input for 30 acres. That's the only expense a farmer should have. That's the only investment a farmer should have, a desi cow. And a desi cow's cow dung, urine are so valuable. In Tamil Nadu, there is a saying, in a desi cow, there are 330 million gods residing in a desi cow. 330 million gods. By gods, what they mean is the microorganisms. There are 330 microorganisms in the desi cow's cow dung and in the desi cow's urine. So take this cow dung, cow urine, mix them with jaggery and green grams pulses flour, the powder, water, and the soil, a little bit of soil, and keep it for 48 hours. Microorganisms grow and earthworms grow in the field. And Jivamruta will be very helpful for agriculture. And the second one he advocates is Pijamruta. Pijamruta is to treat the seeds. In order to treat the seeds, what are used? The things which are used are cow dung, cow's urine, water, soil, and lime. The third aspect of Subhash Palekar's natural farming is mulching. Cover the earth with dried straw, fallen leaves. If we cover it, the moisture will be maintained, microorganisms will grow, and weeds will disappear. The fourth one is Wafesa. It looks like a new term. It's very easy to understand. The moisture and the air should be properly balanced in the soil. That's all. So these are the three things Subhash Palekar very often talks about. And in Tamil Nadu, there is Nammalvar. Nammalvar was also a BSc agriculture graduate. He spent 40 years in Tamil Nadu and also in other parts of the world to advocate organic farming. And what he says is, a farmer should be self-reliant, a farmer should be self-sufficient, and farming is not an activity to grow plants and thereby to earn money. It's not a commercial activity. It's a way of living. A farmer's way of living is farming. Mr. Nammalvar. So in the year 2015, I started this farm, and with the help of the family members, with the help of my wife, we cultivate paddy, banana, papaya, grapes, lemon, and jasmine, and tapioca, as Keralites call it kappa or marichini. we cultivate that also. The inspiration for me for organic farming came from Subhash Palekar, Nammalwar, and the books we subscribed, Pasmi Vikadan and Man Vasanai, they were all very helpful to us. And when we had the land in the year 2015, the land was used for farming, not natural farming, the usual farming which takes place nowadays. Excessive use of chemicals, excessive use of chemical fertilizers, and excessive use of pesticides. This is what going on everywhere until there is awareness about natural farming. People hesitate to accept organic farming or natural farming. They are not ready to change their practice. They think that agriculture should be very easy. You buy the chemicals, you buy the fertilizers, you buy the pesticides, and then you use it. There ends the matter. You should have a proper harvest or proper yield. And they think this is the tradition. Nobody thinks about the cow. Nobody thinks about the farming. And when I talk to farmers, my neighbors, I ask them this. When we use excessive fertilizers and chemicals, will it not be harmful to the human beings? Their reply is, we don't consume it. We produce to sell. Why should we bother about what we use as input? So this is the invariable answer we always get. And then there are farmers who use less amount of fertilizers, less amount of pesticides for their own consumption, and for commercial purposes, they use a lot of chemical pesticides and fertilizers. So this is the usual practice among the farmers we find, and they refuse to come out of it. Whatever Subhash Palekar has tried, whatever Nammalwar has tried, people do not accept the new things. And when I got the land in the year 2015, with the existing farming practices, what we did first was the soil should be reclaimed. There should be soil reclamation. The soil should become fertile. It should have the minerals, nutrients, moisture. And what to do for that? Palekar, Nammalwar, they all gave the reply. In order to make the soil fertile, very simple thing needs to be done. If you have 1 acre of land, have 5 types of seeds, 5 kilogram in each. On the whole, we require 25 kilogram of seeds, 5 kilogram of cereals, right? Paddy, jowar, millet, and thinai, samai in Tamil we call. So take 5 kilogram. And take 5 kilogram of leguminous seeds, pulses, black gram, green gram, Bengal gram, pulses. And take 5 kilograms of oil seeds, groundnut, castor, sunflower, and take 5 kilograms of green leaf manure. In Tamil we call Takapundu, Sanapu, Naripayir, Kollu. I'm sorry, I do not know the English terms for this. And then 5 kilograms of aromatic crops, mustard, Vendayam, Seeragam, Malli, So mix all the 25 kilograms, sow them in the field, leave them to grow for 45 days, 45 to 50 days, and plow the land, and you repeat the process two times or three times. When the process is repeated, as you know very well, the whole thing takes place in 150 days for three times, 100 days for two times, and you get fertile land which is fit for organic farming. This we did, and the result was very interesting. There are a lot of earthworms in the land. When farmers come here or agricultural workers come here to our farm, they're very happy to see earthworms. It's a rare sight in the fields to see the earthworms here. And this we practiced. The result, as I said, was good. The importance of indigenous cows should be realized. So it's not very easy to procure desi cows. And nobody wants to have desi cows nowadays because the milk yield is very low. As advocates of organic farming always say, there are two types of milk. One is A1 milk and the other is A2 milk. If you continue to consume A1 milk from the crossbreed, milk from Jersey, milk from the Friesian cows, now they yield a lot of milk. For their milk value, people rear them, and that milk is harmful to the health. And the A2 milk, which you get from desi cows, is good for health. And it's costly. Milk is the yield of milk is very low. That's why farmers do not want to have desi cows. In Tamil Nadu, there is a beautiful system of rearing cows. There are people who have kedamadu. There are people, groups of people who have thousands and thousands of cows. They go from one place to another for the fodder. They stay. And this system of having the cows continues even today. But those cows are highly uncontrollable. They are not kept for the milk they give. They are kept for rearing purposes. They are kept for Jallikattu Kalais, Jallikattu bulls, and they are kept for the cow dung they produce. There are people here, and I ask them what they do with the cow dung. They give the reply that all the cow dung they get every day is packed and sent to Kerala. So I'm very happy about the state of Kerala. I'm very happy about the people of Kerala. I'm really very happy about the practices they follow. They get the cow dung farming. And we also wanted to have desi cows. I traveled a lot and I finally found the cows which we require. We have 30 plus desi cows here in the farm. They are Theni Malay Madakal. They are Kangayam cows. And I was told in the training we attended at Develapur, Nagpur, Maharashtra, don't try to bring the cows from other states. They will not be suitable to you. Have the cows which are there in your state, in your district. That will be good. So that's why we did not go for the cows from other states. The Gir cows from the state of Gujarat. There are a lot of desi cows in India. It's always better to have the cows which you have in your area, in your district, in your state. So we have the cows, and these cows, the desi cows, are very intelligent. The cow dung you get from the desi cows, there is a song in Tamil. In cow dung, there is a goddess, and the name of the goddess is Sandana Mangai. So Sandana Mangai lives in the cow dung of desi cows. It will never smell bad. You can live near the cow dung heap. And we got the desi cows here. And then we started preparing the inputs. As I said, the first input is Jeevamridam. Jeevamridam is sufficient for everything. As Subhash Palekar and as Namalwar states, as they state. And as I have already mentioned, Jeevamridam is the easiest, the preparation is the easiest. The method is a very simple method. For 200 liters of Jeevamridam, what you add is 10 kilogram of cow dung, 10 liters of cow urine, 1 kilogram of jaggery, 1 kilogram of green grams of flour, and a handful of soil, the soil which you have taken from your own farm. Mix them well, keep them for 48 hours. And then when you irrigate, you can also use the Jeevamridam along with the irrigation. The result is very nice. And the second, when Jeevamridam is in the liquid form, there is Gana Jeevamridam which is in the solid form. And for that we use cow dung, cow urine, jaggery, green gram flour and soil. You don't mix it with water. Keep it for 28 hours, fully covered under the shade. Keep it for 48 hours, not 24 or 28 hours, 48 hours. And at the end of 48 hours, dry it under the sun and becomes a solid. And if you are able to make it a powder, that will be very good. Then it can be used directly. The third input we prepare is fish amino acids. You take 5 kilogram or 10 kilogram of fish waste. We need not to take fish. Fish waste can be collected. And if you take 5 kilogram of fish waste, add 6 kilograms of jaggery, put it in a closed pot or closed drum, keep it for 21 days. And on the 22nd day, when you open it, it has a very fragrant smell. It can be used. Use just 100 ml for 200 liters of water. Use it for irrigation. That will be very helpful. We have papaya trees here in our farm. And the farmers here in Tamil Nadu, in Madurai district, they all say that papaya trees have mealy bugs. And these mealy bugs destroy the papaya trees. They multiply, and within 24 hours, the rate of multiplication is very high. And finally, all the papayas, the fruits, the leaves, the tree, they are all covered by the mealy bugs. And poor farmer doesn't really know what to do. And finally, that's the end of papaya cultivation. And sometimes they have to make use of very strong pesticides or insecticide. But that doesn't stop the growth of mealy bugs. And what we use here is, we use fermented buttermilk, and we spray the buttermilk on the mealybug, and they disappear. This is practically we do here. And then farmyard manure, as we have got a lot of cows, the cow dung is mixed with the farmyard waste and it's composed. And after 3 months or 6 months, we use it. Only one input we purchase here is EM solution, effective microorganism solution. This EM, the brand name for EM is Maple EM1 Ariali. So an agricultural scientist in Japan, he discovered this. And this is a bottle, a 1 liter bottle. We get this bottle from the shop, and we mix it with 18 liters of water, 1 kilogram of jaggery, and keep it in a closed container for 9 days. And then on the 10th day, it's ready for use. And we take 300 ml of EM solution, mix it with 10 liters of water, and spray. So these are the 6 inputs we use in our farm for all our farming activities. And for the past 5 years, we have been doing this. And what we cultivate is, as I have already mentioned, banana. This is organic banana, papaya, paddy, jasmine, and kappa, lemon. And why can't we make it integrated? I thought of it. So our grapes, the grape plants is fully covered with birds' net. We have a farmhouse here. So I'm talking to you from our farmhouse. And in the ground floor of the farmhouse, we have got chickens, the country chickens. And there is a provision from the country chicken, from the ground floor, all the chickens go to the grapes. The grape plants are beautifully covered with the net. The chickens are all there during the daytime inside the net. They are fully protected. So before we thought of it, there were huge losses of chickens. Dogs come and catch. Sometimes other animals come. They kill the chickens. And now recently we thought of it. So from the ground floor, they all go to the grapes. During the daytime, they are there. They take care of themselves, and during night they are fully protected. So they are not disturbed by any animals. And I think this is an innovation. And in the beginning, we had a very little grapes. And about the grapes, this is Paneer Trache, black in color. And last time, we were able to get a very good yield, organic grapes. Organic grapes are very difficult to cultivate, they always said. And for grapes, we always depend on the skilled laborers. So in the district of Tindukal, grapes cultivation is very high. And there are skilled laborers. So they come from Tindukal to our place once a week, and they prune, trim, cut, and they take care of the grape vine. And once in 100 days, we can take grapes harvest. And we have taken the harvest, very nice harvest once. And the grapes are now ready for, the grapes will be ready for cutting in 1 month. So for every 100 days, we can harvest grapes. And another innovation we have made in our house is we have we have got 2 floors, ground floor and the first floor in the farmhouse. And in the terrace of the first floor, we cultivate grapes. The grape wine comes from the ground, and then we have taken the grape wine to the first floor terrace, and it's also an innovation, and it keeps the space fully covered, and we can take grapes. And when you have cows, many cows, the desi cows, you should also have the bulls with you as a seed bulls. We have got one Kangayam seed bull and one Theni Malay Madu seed bull. When I was talking to Madam Dr. Jennifer about the students there, Madam said there were a lot of students from Kerala, as the college is AJK college is near Kerala, and I was very happy to hear this. And in Kerala, there is a place called Kasaragod district, and that district suffered from the excessive use of chemical fertilizers, chemical pesticides, and there were a lot of diseases among the people. Diseases which were uncontrollable, we read. And the intelligent farmers there thought of organic farming. And the first district in Kerala to have organic farming is Kasaragod. And there are also desi cows in Kerala. Vechur is nationally recognized desi cow. And Kasaragod dwarf, Chiru Valley, Kuttapura dwarf, Vadakara and Vilwadri cows. And when I was the principal at Vivekananda College for 7 years, from 2010 to 2017, we formed a club called, we formed a committee called Students Organic Committee. And there was a representative. There were many students there in the committee. And their purpose was to advocate organic farming. They were able to produce a lot of inputs. There is a dairy farm in the college, but they don't have desi cows, they have crossbred. Milk production is is the aim of the dairy farm. So with the available inputs, with the available cows, they were able to produce a lot of milk. Now with the inputs, our students of the committee were able to make a lot of inputs for agriculture. And that's how they were able to motivate other farmers in organic farming. The same thing can be produced there in HAK College. The students of biotechnology, the future scientists there, they can create awareness among the students. They can also create awareness among the people in the society. Organic farming will give you the result, but you should have the patience. As I have already mentioned, farming is not a commercial activity, as Namalwar stated. Farming is a way of living. That will give you the result, but you should remain patient. And as we always say that India's backbone is agriculture. India's backbone is the village. And in villages, agriculture is the main activity. the real agriculture has lost its value. Too much of dependence on inputs and excessive expenditure for the inputs, and a farmer remains a poor farmer, and he depends on the businessmen for selling his products, and what he produces is also not good for the health of the society. And we are very happy that the present central government is taking measures to promote organic farming. As students of biotechnology, when you find time, you should be able to go and see the new schemes advocated by the state government and the central government for organic farming. There are subsidies, there are, a lot of encouragements given to the organic farmers. I do not know how many of you are from farming background. So if you are from the farming background, tell your parents, tell your people to go for organic farming. The initial investment is a bit heavy. The only investment you are going to make is you are going to have a desi cow. That's all. One desi cow, as they say, will take care of 30 acres of land. That's the only investment. And then everything is self-sufficient. That you can think of. And if you do not have an agricultural background, you can try in your house a bit of kitchen gardening. The vegetables which you require for your family can be taken from the kitchen garden you have at home. Now you can think of composting all the waste material, organic waste materials we produce in our house, we make in our house. Why to dump the waste in the public place? Why should we depend on the township or village panchayat to remove our organic waste? No, there are kitchen wastes. That kitchen waste can be easily composted, and that can become a manure, an input, and the plants will grow very well. There are also people who are very much interested now in terrace gardening. If you have a terrace, there should be a facility for watering, and organic farming can be easily practiced in the form of growing vegetables. I'm sure you can, some of you may be doing it, some of you will be willing to do it. And if you are able to see our farmhouse or the fields near our farmhouse, the background is we have banana and we have papaya, and if I am able to show you the shade net, not actually the shade net, the grapes, the net of the grapes, you can see. And now I am going to the terrace of our house, where you can see the grapes which are there in the grapes pandal. I do not know whether I am able to show these to you. So I am in the first floor terrace of our house, and I am above my head. You can see the grapes. This is within a month these grapes will be ready for harvesting. So this is practically possible. Growing grapes in the terrace is really possible. And this is the north side, and now we go to the south. The grapes in the pandal. So these grapes will be ripe in a few days, in a month or in a month, and that will be ready for the harvest. And from here, I should also show you the banana and the grapes, all produced through organic farming. And Dr. Jennifer, if the students, if they want to ask me any questions, we can go for the interaction. Were you able to see the grapes?
Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, sir.
Very
yes.
good. In that
You can see.
case, may I
Nice, sir.
show you
Nice.
the cows we have here? May I show you the cows we have here? Will you be able to see them? So I go to the ground floor and show you the cows. These are the desi cows we have here.
We can see. Yes, sir.
The cows here, and the Kangayam cows, and the Theni Malay Madakal Theni cows. Hello. And one cow is
Yes.
giving us milk, the calf. It's a beautiful way of living with cows.
Yes.
See the beautiful calf here.
Yes.
Yes, madam. And the chicken, and I would like to show how we keep our chicken here. Chickens, the hens and the
One day-
cocks. One second. Let my
Okay, sir. One
wife
day we
bring-
will visit.
let my wife bring the keys, madam. So this is the ground floor of the farmhouse, and open it. Close, Nirma. The country chickens. There are a few Kannada chickens also here. During the daytime, they will be here, or in the now when there is very hot sun, they will be here. They go from the shed through this channel like this, and then they go to the net. They are beautifully protected here, and there is a separate place for the hens for hatching eggs.
Yes, sir. You can see. Yeah.
And this is the channel. This is the channel.
How could you manage alone?
Yes, this is the channel, and then they directly go to the grapes. The grapes here are fully protected. There is a net, and animals will not disturb them.
Okay.
So the jasmine Okay. And if you are able to bring your students on a field trip to our place in future after the college has reopened, you are most
Yes, sir,
welcome.
sure.
Yes. And the full view of the cows we have. All
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
and see the
Really
grape wine which is
wonderful.
from the ground floor to the first floor terrace.
Yes,
The
sir.
grapes. So what we say is not important. What we do is all important. That's why I showed you, practically showed you the cows, the cow shed, and the chicken shed. And now it's, can we have interaction, madam? Shall we have the interaction now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, madam. If your students have got anything to ask me, they are most welcome.
Okay, sir. Shraddha,
Yes, madam.
Okay, now it's your time to ask the queries.
students,
If you have
they
any
will
doubt,
be,
you can. Ma'am,
do a message on chat box. Chat box. They
if you have any doubts, you
can't
can share it in the chat box.
ask, sir, because they taken,
Yes, madam. most welcome. Vida? Lima? Untuk karam? Untuk kar, pakat untuk kar. Come, come.
I think no one have any doubts, sir.
How many participants are with us, madam? How many students are participating in the webinar? Madam, can you hear me?
I think around 18, sir.
Oh, 18.
Ah.
Oh, very nice. And if you have any specific questions, madam, you can ask me on behalf of your students.